Hi everybody, I'm Gio, and welcome to my channel. This story is called Uptown. Special thanks go to Condottiere for suggesting the original idea. Subways are very new for me. I'm Reese Davis, and I'm from a small town in Montana, Triple Falls to be precise. Population, 5 grand. Here I am, in New York City, heading to my dream job. Graphics illustrator for Camel Graphics. Hopping on my first subway, and I don't know what to do. New York City is only 2,000 times bigger than where I'm from. I'm in trouble. I stared at the multicolored maze on the wall of all the subway lines throughout the city, trying to figure out which one will get me where I want. It wasn't easy. Each route was color-coded and went to places I've never heard of. Red line, green line, orange line, yellow line, blue line, purple line, and gray line, overlaid on a map of the city streets. The Bronx, Manhattan, Queens, and Brooklyn are islands. Do the subways travel underwater? To make it even more complicated, some stops were black dots, some stops were white dots, and some stops had a white dot with an odd symbol in it. What's uptown and downtown mean? Triple Falls only had a downtown. Then there were things called express. What's that mean? I'm in serious trouble. It seemed so easy when my new roommate mapped it out for me last night. Now none of what he'd written down made sense. I had even downloaded the transportation app to guide me, but my phone said, "Something went wrong. The app will not open," and then gave me an error code. It's my first day on the job, and my boss will fire me for sure if I'm late. You see, I've never been there before. We did all the interviews over the phone while I was back in Triple Falls. I couldn't wait to leave that place, but right now, I wanted to go back. The subways are so confusing. I'm not terrified. I'm not panicking. Yes, I am. Taking a deep breath, I backtracked the yellow line that got me closest to work. Even that got complicated. First, I'd have to take the green line to a black dot and somehow transfer to the yellow line and take it to a white dot. Campbell Graphics was only a short walk from there. "Get out of the way, kid. Other people need to see the map too," some guy yelled at me. "Sorry," I mumbled and stepped back into another person. "Watch it with those boots, cowboy," a woman said. How did she know I was from the country? Because everybody here wore black or gray. I was the only person wearing a red and white plaid button-down shirt, a beige cowboy hat, and my old broken-in pair of cowboy boots. Give me a neon sign on my forehead that said, "I'm not from around here." If somebody asked me if I wanted to go back to Montana right now, the answer isn't yes. It's hell yes. I was willing to lay serious money down against anybody here besides me, having ridden a horse. I don't know if I could survive in the city. There were more people walking past me than Triple Falls had houses. Why did I leave Triple Falls? A nearby monitor displayed times for the green line, both uptown and downtown. What does that even mean? Scanning it quickly, I freaked out. The next train leaves now? There were so many people I couldn't run. Pushing through the turnstile and holding onto my hat, I followed the crowd down a long flight of stairs and to the platform, just in time to see a train pull out. I had to get to my new job. What do I do? A train pulled up on a second set of tracks. That must be the right train. I climbed on. I sighed and let my shoulders relax. I wouldn't be late after all. I can still get to work. When we reached each station, some automated voice said the name of the station, but the train made so much noise, and some businessmen nearby were talking so loudly that I couldn't hear it. We zipped past a station without stopping. What? We didn't stop. Why? I strained to listen to the automated voice. It didn't say any stops I recognized. A monitor near the door listed what stops we were approaching. It had been 15 minutes. I should be there by now. The monitor never showed my stop. What happened? I got off at the next station and ran to the spaghetti tangle they called a map. Where was I? It was supposed to be one of the green trains, so I found the green line and followed it. I searched the map and searched it again. I checked the name of the stop on the wall, then went back to the map. I found it. Oh no, I had gone in the wrong direction and landed on a white dot. Crap, what had I done wrong? I was at least 30 minutes from the yellow line, maybe more. How do I find the right train now? My new roommate had said, "Reese, riding the subway is easy. Even kids do it." This is no time to panic. I'd left this morning with extra time. Checking my phone. I swore. I had used up most of the extra time. Work started in 15 minutes. There was no way I could get there in time. Evidently, some green trains go to white dots and some green trains go to black dots. How do you know which is which? I don't have time for this. I looked at the monitor. The next green train didn't leave for another 15 minutes, and I bet it would be in the wrong direction. What am I going to do now? I'll be so late my new boss will kick me out the door on the spot. Fired, and I can't even make it to work. I looked for an attendant booth and found one. No one was in it, and it only had a sign that said, "Attendant available from 9 to 5. For questions, please dial," and it gave a phone number. I called the stupid number, and it did nothing but ring and ring and ring. I hung up. It must be the morning rush hour. Even more people had entered. The noise was like a baseball game I had gone to down in Butte. People screaming, some kind of music coming from somewhere. So loud, so many people. My head started to ache, and I couldn't think. Why did I ever leave Triple Falls? Green trains are going in the wrong direction. What color goes in the right direction? "Excuse me," I asked a man in a business suit. "What color of trains go back the other direction?" He stared at me as if I had just asked the dumbest question. "Get on your horse and ride," he said, and he speed-walked off. Somehow I had to get to work. Did that man mean I should walk? I climbed the stairs and immediately knew going outside was a bad idea. So many buildings, and tall ones too, and hundreds of taxis and cars and a bus. As loud as it was in the subway, it was even louder on the streets. Horns, more yelling, swearing, people talking into their phones. Something was beeping, at least 5 different kinds of music, and something smelled like frying bacon and old tires and car exhaust. Which way do I go? I went back into the subway, found a pamphlet with a map, and sat on a bench. I had to get to work, but with a map this small, I couldn't figure out where work was, or where my new apartment was, or where I was. I glanced back at the booth, hoping somebody would be there. No one was. I didn't have money for a taxi. I barely had enough to survive until my paycheck from the job I'm about to get fired from. My head went from hurting to pounding to splitting. The noise became louder. Something vibrated in my pocket. I pulled my phone out, but my earbuds cord had tangled around it. Somebody was calling, but from a number I didn't recognize. "Hello," I said. A group of women passed me, shrieking and giggling. I couldn't hear my phone. Were the women talking about a Broadway play? "Hello," I said, even louder. I think some guy mumbled something, but I couldn't hear anything. "Can you hear me?" I said. The call ended. This was turning into the worst day. Why did I ever leave Triple Falls? Nobody came into the booth. I could not decipher the little map. My headache would not go away. What color took me to the yellow line? A group of people rushed past, and some guy set up a box and stood on it. He pulled out a violin and began playing. Occasionally, people tossed coins in a jar at his feet. I went topside and looked at pure chaos. Cars and taxis were cruising along, more people than I had ever seen before crammed the sidewalks. And the noise. How does anybody even think around here? I looked at the little map and took a guess and started walking. Screw this. I couldn't get to work, couldn't find my apartment, couldn't figure out the subways. This was one city I didn't belong in. I walked block after block, building after building, through the biggest place I had ever been. How could people live in a city like this? Did I have enough money for a bus ticket home? Where was the bus station? What would I tell my folks? I've been in the city for a couple of days, and it's a nightmare. An hour's walking, and I hadn't found anything I recognized. I hadn't even found another subway station, so I must be going the wrong way. My phone vibrated with an incoming text. Come to my office, door number 3. I need you to sign some forms so you can get paid. This was it. I was about to get fired by text. My worst day just got worse. I texted back, "Sorry, I'm not at work." It took a second before I was brave enough to hit send. "You're an hour late," came the text. How do I reply to that? First, I would look like an idiot. Second, whoever this was would get a really good laugh. Third, they'd tell my boss I wasn't around. And fourth, I could kiss my dream job goodbye. I replied, "Sorry." The reply came almost immediately. "Where are you?" I felt sick to my stomach, lost in a huge city. I don't know where I am, and my head is pounding. When my boss found out I wasn't around, he'd fire me. I texted the truth and chuckled, even though nothing was funny. "I don't know." He texted back, "What do you mean? Are you lost?" Whatever shreds of pride I had vanished. I texted, "Yes." Good thing this was text, or I would hear everybody in the office giggling. Did you hear the joke about the small-town cowboy who got lost in the big city? I didn't get a text this time. He called. As I answered and plugged my earbuds in, I guessed what his first few words would be. Something along the lines of, "Don't bother coming to work." "Hello," I answered, my voice tense and my heart sped up. My head pounded. "Somebody is not liking life in the city," the voice said. "Sorry," I said. "Sounds like somebody needs a friend. Reese, I'm Xander. Let's figure out where you are and how we can get you here," Xander said. "I'm not fired," I blurted out. Xander chuckled. Something inside me loosened up. "I want you to take a deep breath and relax, because I'm not leaving you alone. You're not the first person to get lost in the city. It probably happens hourly. I want you to look for either a street name or a subway name or maybe the name of a store or a restaurant," Xander said. I walked a little further. "I bet this is your first time in the city, and your first time on the subway?" Xander asked. "We don't have anything like this back home," I admitted, breathing in the fresh air of car exhaust and stale coffee. I looked around for an address, found it, and told it to him. "You're from Triple Falls, Montana?" Xander asked. A computer clicked in the background. "Tell me about it." "I grew up there, but I didn't want to stay there. I guess I took this job because I wanted more in my life than a diner and a post office and weekend rodeos. In my grandpa's day, it was called a one-church town, but it's bigger than that now. I think we're up to 5, I said. "Wow, New York has a few thousand. I don't know how you did it, but you, my friend, are nowhere close to where you need to be. You probably went downtown when you should have gone uptown, and probably caught an express by mistake," Xander said. "Some stops let you access both sides of the subway, but you must have accessed an older one that only goes one way. Usually, its companion is across the street, but you wouldn't know that. Go 3 blocks west and you'll find a station. Understand?" I looked about and couldn't believe I was about to ask the dumbest question ever. "Which way's west?" Xander snorted and told me what street to look for. "Don't you have more important things than helping me get to work?" I asked. "And missed the opportunity to help a dude in distress," he said, but I heard the smile in his voice. "What am I going to tell our boss? He's going to be furious with me," I said. Xander gave a genuine chuckle. "Buy him a coffee or take him out to lunch. Puts him in a good mood every time." I was beginning to like this guy. "Have you lived in the big city long?" "Born and raised in Queens," he said. "Tell me about yourself. Do you have a girlfriend or wife back home? Had a boyfriend, but we split. I'm gay, I said. That's ironic. So am I, Xander said. Since you're very new in town, how about Friday after work? I take you out to dinner and give you the tour. New York is very different than what you're used to, but I think you'll like it. A date? What will our boss say? I said. Are you going to tell him? Xander said, laughing. Xander stayed on the line with me, and I began to relax. When I got to the subway station, he talked me to where I needed to be and stayed on the line until I got on the right train. As the train pulled out of the station, we lost signal. I waited until the next stop and called him. Xander answered on the second ring. Xander's hotline. We specialize in bringing lost cowboys home. How may I help? He said. If I didn't know better, I'd think you were flirting with me, I said. Xander laughed and said, Flirting is free, but until you buy me dinner, that's all you get. The train pulled out, and we lost connection before I could respond. Trains didn't stay in one place very long. I had traveled in the wrong direction farther than I thought, but when my stopped to transfer to the yellow line finally arrived, I rushed out of the train before the doors closed. I called to Xander. Xander's hotline. Where you at, Reese? Xander said. I just arrived at the yellow line, I said. Tell me, are you wearing cowboy boots and a hat? Xander said. Yeah, why? Head to the map, Xander said. Thank you for being my guardian angel. You've earned that dinner, I said. Where do I go next? Get to the map first, and I'll tell you, Xander said. Some guy was on his phone by the map. He looked up as I approached. Reese? Nice hat, he said, putting his phone away. He was a little older than me, with auburn hair and dark eyes, and he flashed a nice smile. God, were his dimples cute. He offered me his hand, and I shook it. I recognized his voice at once, and the heat rushed to my cheeks. Xander, what are you doing here? Since I hired you and brought you to New York, I feel a little responsible for you, he said. You're the man that rescued me, and you're my boss? You didn't have to come out here to meet me, I said, and committed the ultimate faux pas. I hugged Xander, then realized my mistake and let him go. But I'm glad you did. Thank you. This time Xander smiled, a friendly gesture that made me relax. We shared a look. We're a new company, and you might not believe this, but I must have had 50 people apply for the position, but only one had the ideas that fit with my vision. Yours, Xander said. Me? But I'm from a small town, and I don't know anything about the city, I said, and warmed to Xander immediately. I liked this guy. Maybe that's what we need more of. We'll talk about it on the next train and get to know each other, Xander said. Before we catch the train, is there a coffee shop around here? I need to stay on my boss's good side, I said. Xander gave me a lopsided grin. Was I flirting? Was he? I had better be careful because I could fall for this guy. How about we get acquainted over breakfast, Xander said, taking the map from my hands. We accidentally touched fingers, and it made both of us smile. I'm going to love this job, and this town, and especially my boss. I'm glad I left Triple Falls. The end. Thank you, everybody, for listening. I appreciate it. Peace.